and I think we both have the same number one because I haven't heard it on your list, and that is Def Jam Fight for New York. I guess we can
Fuck
both
yeah.
talk about it at the same time.
Yeah.
What can I say about this game? Definitely a product of its time and era. Some of our favorite hip hop artists are in this game.
Oh,
A great time for me for hip hop. My favorite is that 2000 to like 2004 ish. So many great artists, and not only did it have great artists, and it had the ability to upgrade your character, change your finishing moves, change your outfits. What was huge in the game, you get to unlock a lot of cool things. The gameplay was smooth. The
oh,
fighting, the
yeah.
controls were very smooth. The music was phenomenal. But what beats all that is the amazing storyline. Tell me about it.
Oh my god, the story. The story. Basically, you have two rival gangs. You got one led by a fictional character named D-Mob, the other one led by a character named Crow, who is essentially Snoop Dogg. He looks like Snoop Dogg, is voiced by Snoop Dogg. It's Snoop Dogg.
It is
Uh,
Snoop Dogg, yeah. Well, he
Snoop
looks
Dogg's
just
the
like him.
villain. Yeah, he talks like it. It's Snoop Dogg. They just call him Crow. And but yeah, he runs the antagonist gang, and you're coming out with D-Mob, and you're basically, it's like a turf war essentially. You're going into these clubs, you're fighting the other gangs guys for turf. Then you're building
Yep.
up all this turf in your club, and eventually there's a story going back and forth along. You're picking up a girlfriend, and eventually it gets to a point where a guy in your gang betrays you, kills your girlfriend, right?
Yeah,
Or
something happens, yeah, or gets her killed.
yeah, and you're like forced, or you're forced from like blackmail somehow to like flip over to the other bad guy side. And you have to
Yeah,
fucking fight all the guys that are your buddies, and then at the end
yeah,
it builds up a big match against Snoop Dogg's character. You fucking end up tossing him out a window to kill him.
yeah, yeah,
But oh man, the interactions with the settings in it, like I said, throwing Snoop out of the window. But I remember the subway, you fight Danny Trejo and Busta Rhymes. I think at the subway station, you fucking
yeah,
can
and you
throw
can throw
Danny
them against
Trejo for
train.
the subway.
I
Oh,
remember I had the record. I beat Sticky Fingers in 11 seconds
in the
because what
fire,
happened was,
right?
yeah, I hit him and he glitched out in the fire and I beat his ass in 11 seconds.
Oh, that's my boy, Sticky Fingers. I love Sticky.
I remember going when we played that game. All the guys would come over to my house as well. We'd all play it. I remember we used to take it over to this kid's name. This kid's name is Alex. We used to go over to his house and play it. He thought he was badass at it. He was fucking garbage. I remember I remember I whooped his ass so bad. I had him against the wall. Boom, 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 boom. Elbow. I finished him off in like 30 seconds. And then it was one of those classic, one of the best gaming moments I had. I beat his ass so bad. He was talking so much shit. All I did was drop the controller, get my shoes on, walk out of his house.
A walk-off knockout,
People,
like the Mark Hunt of Def Jam.
yeah, but again, man, what a great game. I think we talk about a lot of fancy games. Everyone always wants to know who's the toughest rapper. All these guys talk about drugs, guns, killing, hoods, they're thugs, whatever. We get to find out in Def Jam. Not only that, throughout the story, the characters are hilarious. Redman and Method Man are
Oh,
fucking
so funny.
hilarious in it. They have some of the funniest sayings when you start off a fight. Some of the craziest finishing moves you'll ever see in a game. The
Yeah.
only thing missing, I think we said it before we talked about it, was DMX. I would have loved to see him in it. He was under that Def Jam banner at the time. I think you know what happened or kind of know the rumor of it,
Mhm.
why he wasn't in it. But man, again, second week in a row, both of our
Did the
games,
same
number
first,
are the
yeah.
same. And we tell you this, guys, we don't converse about nothing.
No.
We don't share anything. We just say what the episode is, and then we come out and then we say our list, man. So again, second week in a row, we have the
Yeah,
same game.
bad. Yeah, not too bad. And shit, if you remember DOC, we might have had the same one and two.
Yeah, because we've never even played Def Jam together, so that's the crazy part, right?
we spent a lot of time talking about playing it. Like,
Yeah, just a and a crazy hard game to get now. It's actually quite pricey
oh,
if you go to a game store.
well,
It's a little
everybody, and I always tell people, it'll never be re-released. They'll never get the licensing for all those guys again. You'll never see it
No,
again. That's why it's valuable. It's because if you want it, you got to go out and get that original copy of it. Like it's the only
yeah,
way to
that's
play.
it. And you don't want to pick up Shaniqua.
Oh, Shaniqua, I've done it on purpose. I've
I
literally
did it
lost it
too
to
because my one buddy
had
when
a
we were
music
playing
girlfriend
through it,
might as well.
and that was a game too. Even though the storyline was always kind of the same,
Yeah.
you could always play through it, make a new character, change the name of the character, have a new style. Oh man, what a product of his time. I said it before with the outfits, the baggy clothes, the basketball jerseys, the do-rags, the hats. Just man.
Oh, and shit. I mean, it represent rap from the time, great, but shit for all my fellow punk rockers out there. The guy that trains you in the gym is fucking Henry Rollins from Black Flag.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Henry Rollins.
Yeah, so you get a little punk representation in there with all the rap too.
Yeah, and it's way better than Def Jam icons, I'll tell you that.
Oh my god. Well, they
No,
got
I will say
Anthony Edwards or whatever in that, didn't they? Or not
icons
Anthony Edwards, Anthony, whatever the fuck his name is.
icons graphics were nicer because they
Yeah.
didn't go to that cartoony comic style graphics. It was more of that, realistic type graphics. So their graphics were really good. But the storyline, the controls
The controls
were
were terrible.
yeah, but I'm talking about Def Jam New York. The controls were
Yeah.
were so perfect. I remember fighting Sean Paul and his
Oh,
fucking and his level. The music was bumping and shit, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh yo,
He's flying all over the place. Him and
yeah,
Elephant Man are just wild in that. They're flying
yeah.
all over the place.
What a great game, man. Oh man,
Yeah.
I wish one of us would have wrote down the list of the characters. Just a fantastic game.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, off the top of your head, you could probably name lots of them, right? Like, well, you got F Man, Red Man, you got Snoop, you got Ludacris, Buster Rhymes,
yeah,
Exhibit, both guys from Mobb Deep. You
yeah. You
got
got
what?
Nor. Yeah, you got Nor. You got fucking again Henry Rollins. Rollins. You got Sticky Fingers. You got
Omar Epps.
Omar. Yeah, you got just a Carmen Electra's in it.
Carmen Electra's in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a crazy array of great characters. Man, for anyone out there, please go check out Def Jam Fight for New York. We cannot say it enough.
Yeah, man. What an awesome game. I mean, that game you could literally, if it was just you flip the skin and made it a WWE game, it would be one of the best wrestling games ever.
Oh yeah.
But and I wouldn't want that to happen because it's so its own thing and it's such an awesome game. And yeah,
We
it'll
always
always be like one of my favorite games.
Yeah, we always talk about games that need to be remade. This is one that everyone would love it, but let's not remake it. Keep it how it was because like you said, you'll never be able to get the licenses, you'll never be able to emulate the
Yeah.
greatness of the game. Even by remaking it and getting
Yeah.
all the licenses, it's still not the same. The only thing you
Would
can do
how
is
about this?
re-release it.
Would you be open to not a newer version of Def Jam, not a re-release of Def Jam, but a similar game, but you go back and you actually go 90s rappers? That would be excellent.
Yeah, I would do that.
And you probably
Because
have
then
enough guys that either they're affordable to get their likenesses now